It's time to put AIDS in the dock. It's time to dock up AIDS. It's time to put AIDS in the dock, along with all these other myths and theories that have been disproven over the years, but that people hold on to for superstitious reasons. And then I know Dr. Klaus Kohnlein, who's the co-author of Virus Mania and a famous AIDS dissident, he likes to say that really with this circular type of reasoning, you can really invent epidemics. And he gives the example of a new epidemic called fat. And with fat, if a doctor asks their overweight patient, well, maybe you're eating too much, the patient would just say, well, doctor, if you could see how much I eat, it's just so little. So then you speculated that it could be an infectious issue. And you notice that people that live around the same environment also share obesity, and you can put them on antiviral drugs, and that makes you thin indeed. And you make a test that you spread out over the population, and those that test positive but aren't fat, you can say, well, you're asymptomatic, you're not fat now, but in the future you will become fat. And with that way you can really create epidemics. And what does AIDS show us about our time? This is something that journalist Celia Farber talked on. It's really the disease of our time because it's the truth doesn't matter. What matters is the image, the public relations. And so we're so tied to the image that that's all that matters. The truth doesn't matter. So it's time to put AIDS in the dock. And now with 40 years of hindsight, we can really see those scientists who have, for 40 years and ever growing in number, questioning the virus AIDS hypothesis and their academic papers, which really haven't been even attempted to be debunked. Groups like the Birth Group and Dr. Peter Duesberg and Kary Mullis, the inventor of PCR, in his autobiography, he has a chapter about AIDS. And he wrote the introduction to Dr. Peter Duesberg's Inventing the AIDS Virus. And here, the inventor of the PCR test, he says that PCR shouldn't be used to detect HIV because he didn't think it was a real disease. But one thing is certain, that millions are being killed by these antiviral drugs, including in Africa, where you don't even need an HIV test in order to be declared an AIDS statistic. So it's time to put AIDS in the dock. But don't wait for the mainstream media to do it, because they will never admit that they'd be wrong because of the lawsuits that this would open them up to. So it's got to be, we can't afford not to be a specialist in a sense. We all have to get politically active and inform ourselves and then be the social change that we want to happen. So it's time to put AIDS in the dock.